Hello, and welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a horror wheel every single day of October. After it chooses the movie, they take the time to discuss it. Today, we're talking about the classic 1978 film Halloween, which was directed and written by John Carpenter. I am Alec.
And I'm Erik.
And this is the final of the Holy Trinity of slasher films. We've covered Friday the 13th, and then A Nightmare on Elm Street, and now finally we're covering one of the best slasher films, if not the best slasher film probably of all time.
For sure. Yeah, this one started it all for me, man. This is where I fell in love with horror movies, I think. I saw this when I was, I think, like 11 or 12, and I just was obsessed with Michael Myers, the Boogeyman, Jamie Lee Curtis. I started watching all different kinds of horror movies, like the old Universal monster movies. I got into it all. Yeah, this is what started it all for me. I would say this is where I fell in love.
Whenever I think of this movie, I do think of you. Like, this is you had posters, you had the costumes, you had action figures, you had
Oh yeah, I was obsessed with this movie. So good.
pretty synonymous with Erik is the Halloween series.
And I love the sequel that was just released in 2018 that we talked about. I think it was episode 6 of this podcast. Love all like Halloween. I love it. Some sequels more than others. But yeah, this one I love Halloween, the remake they made, the sequel 2018, and I love Halloween 2. You know, I got a soft spot in my heart for 4 and for H2O. The other ones,
Yeah. Well,
eh.
I want to get into the sequels with you, but you said something just a minute ago. Well, you didn't see this until you were 11?
I would say about that, yeah. I mean, I knew of it, and pretty sure I was 11, 10 or
Oh.
11, right?
You ready for my experience with this movie? I remember it.
Oh, how young were you?
I'm not even kidding. I think I was 8 years old.
Damn, dude,
Because
that's inappropriate.
I remember exactly what
You're
happened.
too young.
So what happened was H2O was coming out in 98, and I remember the commercials freaked me out so bad. I literally, at night, I wouldn't even watch channels that weren't like Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon or Disney Channel because I knew that the commercials might even come on for H2O. So I was so scared. And I remember my grandma bought me the VHS for like a birthday or something, and she gave it to me, and I remember being like, this is like the one on TV, and she's like, no, this is the old one, this one's not scary. And I was like, okay, and I watched this one, and it's so scary. But I remember she thought
Yeah.
that it's old, it's not scary. It was terrifying. It was only 20 years old at the time. This movie came out in 78, and this was 98 when I watched it. And
Nosferatu's scary, dude. Like, you see that movie? That movie's like 100,000 years old.
in my mind, my grandma said, oh, it's old, so it's not scary. So in my mind, I was like, oh, old movies aren't scary. That's so not true. Old
Yeah,
movies
it's so
are,
not true. Old movies are even scarier in some ways.
I think there's more old scary movies that I'm more afraid of than current movies, for sure. I'm way more scared of The Exorcist and Texas Chainsaw Massacre than I am of like.
There's a spectrum, dude. There's movies that have scared me that are newer. Obviously, we're older than 8 when you shouldn't be watching this movie.
Yeah, man. Well, I don't know. That's my little weird history, but I remember getting the VHS, and I remember it had the, do you remember like when things had those almost like 3D effects on it? If you like turned it one way or turned it another way, it would almost turn 3D.
Yeah, it was like you could like play music on it with your fingernail.
Exactly. You could dude, I had the VHS and it had that on it, and it was printed right on the front, and I just
So that was probably 78, 98. That's probably the 20th anniversary VHS.
Yeah, probably.
20th anniversary. They're on 40th anniversary now. That's crazy.
I guarantee you they don't have a 40th anniversary VHS of this, but
they do somewhere. There's definitely a Blu-ray.
Yeah,
combo packed.
But yeah, I'll never forget that my grandma gave me that, and I remember I was so freaking scared of H2O, just the trailers. I was like, this is the scariest thing in the world, but that's not nearly as scary as this one. But anyways, what made you love this movie, Erik? Why this one more than Friday the 13th? But why this one instead of
story structure that I could understand, a full start to finish ride. You start off with the pumpkin and the music. You go into the past story of Michael Myers. You go into him breaking out of Smith's Grove's asylum. You go to him on the loose and his doctor looking for him. You go to him going on a killing spree in his hometown, coming after the babysitter, Jamie Lee Curtis, who we don't know why he's coming after, only that he saw her. come to the house and drop a key off because they're trying to sell his old Myers house. I guess her parents are real estate agents, and that's the only reason. She's a babysitter. He's a babysitter killer. You see that, and then you go from that to the showdown with him with the babysitter. The doctor sees him. He gets shot out the window. The whole movie, you're like, he's not supernatural, but man, he's strong. He keeps coming back. He gets shot 6 times at the end of that movie. That feeling when you first see that him getting survived, getting hit with getting stabbed. Yeah, sure, he survived that. Getting hit with a clothesline or clothes hanger. Sure, he survived that. The sewing thing. Yeah, he's been messed up a little bit, but
Mhm.
it's all possible in the realm of he could survive that stuff. When he gets shot 6 times and falls off that balcony, and that shot of the doctor looking out and he's gone, I
Mhm.
can't even describe the goosebumps I had
Yeah.
watching that for the first time. It's incredible. The movie experience was amazing for me.
Yeah, you're right. And
Full ride, full ride.
well, and Friday the 13th is a self-proclaimed, like, copycat, essentially. They're like, "We're trying to just kinda reinvent it," and if you do notice in the beginning.
Friday the 13th doesn't end as cool,
No,
but
oh
yeah,
god, no.
keep going.
But it is like, you notice in the beginning, it takes place in the past, and then there's a POV murder. It's the same opening, almost exactly. I mean, Halloween is so much better because it's that one long shot.
Iconic,
I
yeah.
mean, for that to open the movie, like, holy shit, that's amazing. I mean, that's a solid 3 minutes of just one take. Well, they do once the mask goes on, that is a cut, but you don't notice it. But that's unbelievable, and then, the rest of the movie is very similar where it jumps ahead, like, 15 years, and then you've got, no more murders happening and stuff, but I wanna hear more about your opinion on it, but there are a few
Mhm.
questions that I did notice this time. There's a couple plot things that I was picking apart, and maybe
Sure.
same thing with The Fog, you were able to kind of, like, connect it for me, but this one, I don't know. There's a couple plot holes that I'm kinda curious.
There are, but what did you find from it?
Okay, so the first thing that I really, really noticed is a timeline that doesn't really match up. Michael Myers has the mask when he's standing outside of Laurie's classroom and he's looking in, when he's or even when Annie and him are walking home.
Mhm.
He's got the mask on, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then later that night when Laurie's getting picked up by Annie around 6 and they're gonna go shopping. I mean, they're gonna go babysitting, they're smoking the joint or whatever, and they're driving, they see the dad. Okay. So this is
Yeah,
after.
the cop after with the
Yep. So
robbery. Yeah.
Michael already has the mask. Totally, that makes sense, fine. Why is the alarm going off then as if the robbery just happened?
I mean, that alarm could be going on for an hour. You don't know how long it takes for cops in Haddonfield, Illinois, to get to where they need to be in the 70s, dude. It could have been a while. They got over there and they don't know how to turn the alarm off. They got to call a guy to come turn the alarm off. He's just there. He's like, yeah, there's a robbery. Some guy took some rope and a mask, and that's about it. And the
Yeah,
alarm's still going on. It makes sense.
uh,
Dude, that alarm could be going on for a while, and they got
alright,
to call the owner and to come and shut it off.
alright,
Makes sense.
hold on. Lori's in school, okay,
Yeah, no, I know, I know.
so that now they even say, Annie said, "I'll pick you up at 6," okay? So she's in school, so let's say school ends at 2:30, let's just say it ends at 2:30, okay? So he robbed it before then, okay? And also, why is this hardware store closed? But it doesn't matter. So he breaks into the hardware store on Halloween, steals a mask, which is odd that a hardware store would have Halloween stuff, whatever, doesn't matter. Steals that, leaves the store, let's say it's at noon because school's not over yet. Then he goes to the school, so the alarm, let's say it sets off then, and it's been going off until at least 6 o'clock. So this alarm's been going off for 6 straight hours.
It's possible.
That's
I
impossible. No.
I don't think it's impossible. I
An
don't think it's
alarm in a
impossible.
small town during the middle of the day.
They can't
When
get a hold of the owner because he doesn't have a cell phone, and he's the only one who knows how to shut it off. Dude, it can happen. I believe it can happen. I know
Okay.
it's a reach, and also the mask itself is like, where do you get that mask? He got the jumpsuit from the guy who was the mechanic guy, remember?
Mhm.
Where Loomis finds the match thing or
Okay.
whatever.
Okay.
He gets the jumpsuit there.
I'm fine with that. That makes sense.
You don't yeah, don't pick it apart too much. I mean, it adds up, but the mask in general, no one's ever even seen this mask before ever, so you can't really get this mask anywhere. So, let that one go. Like, where did he get this mask kind of
It's not
thing
the
is
mask thing, it's the fact that the alarm going off for 6
Hey,
hours in a
small
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 town.
potatoes, dude, small
No, I
potatoes
know,
in
but
my
that was just
mind.
something that was like, "Hmm, okay,
Eh,
interesting." So when Michael comes back to Haddonfield, so it's been 15 years, and he hasn't spoken one word, and he doesn't know where it is, and he doesn't know how to drive, and he doesn't know really how to interact with any adults or anything like that, really, because he's never spoken. Yet he knows how to drive 150 miles in the right direction and kill somebody and not take his car, but continue driving the one that says corrections on it.
It's a
So,
reach, but there's that line where Sam Loomis says maybe someone around here gave him lessons.
yeah,
Meaning
they
you
do
let Michael get out a little bit too much. Maybe he learned how to drive a car. Maybe he learned how to read maps, you know?
They justify it in the 6th one a little bit, but that's also jumping 5 movies ahead where it is a cult that has been working with Michael, and that guy who works at Smith's Grove is the leader of the cult, so maybe he has been teaching him
For sure.
stuff,
Yeah,
but
dude. Yeah, but that's not this movie.
that came out in '95, so
But
we're
there is the
jumping.
line where Loomis says maybe someone around here gave him lessons, meaning the Smiths Groves is not a tight run ship, and
Sure.
they're letting their patients just walk around outside in the middle of the night. That
No, that's
plate,
'cause there was a breakout.
all right, that's a breakout, but like it looks like how can they? I thought she said something along the lines of like how can they let them just like wander around?
Yeah, because she was like, "What's going on? Why are they all out?" Because they shouldn't be there, it's the middle of no, that was because Michael broke out, and they all
Y-
broke out.
Yeah, I guess so.
Why does Michael go back to Haddonfield, though?
It's the only town he knows. Maybe he always wanted to go back.
To do what, though?
Just come home. Who knows? The night he came home. He's
Yeah,
coming
I
home.
know. Because at
I'm
this point, we don't know that Lori's, his quote unquote sister. We don't know that she's been adopted by another family. We don't know any of this stuff. And also, even if the parents know, if Laurie Strode's adopted parents know that she's the Myers kid, don't send her over to that house to drop the key off.
You think, right? But that's in the second one. That's where John Carpenter was trying to like, okay, how can I make a sequel? This movie
Okay.
took off. How can I
Yeah.
make a sequel? To go into Halloween 2 a little bit, and this is where I think they're gonna make the second one of the 2018 a lot better. Laurie's on the way to the hospital in both of the first one, this movie, and the 2018 one. She's
Hmm.
clearly bleeding. She's clearly really messed up. In Halloween 2, the original, she's in that hospital for way too long.
Yeah. She's
The whole
unconscious for
movie's
most
in the
of the movie.
hospital. I think this new one that's coming out is gonna be her in the hospital and getting stitching up and getting out. I don't think it's gonna be like killing all the nurses and a whole long movie about the hospital. I think it's gonna
No.
be quick.
No, no, nobody wants to see that again, but yeah, okay. All right, let me just before I forget this too. What about when she's looking in the backyard, Lori's looking in the backyard and she sees Michael standing there in the sheets and then she doesn't look away and then he's still there. I mean, then he's gone.
You mean when she like slams the window?
Yeah. She
Um,
never looks away and he just disappears. You're like, what?
well, in the sheet moves and covers him, and he's gone. It's a sheet, dude. The sheets do that. It's like the they do the dog sheet game when you like put a thing up in front of your dog and
Uh-huh.
then you run away. That's what Michael does, but
Yeah.
not as funny and cute.
All right, a little bit of a stretch. If you rewatch that again, it's unbelievably like she's looking at him like what, and her eyes like are kind of go like huh, but she does not look away, and then immediately the next shot is him just gone. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's hard to imagine the cut in between the cut. She looks away, but I think it's a sheet, and he's gone in between the sheet moving
Okay,
because he's
all right.
right behind the sheet. It would be like a really like Batman. You turn around, you look away for a quarter second, you look somewhere else, and he's gone.
She didn't look away for any second there.
I know. It's a stretch, but it
I'm
works.
sorry. Hey, listen,
It's a clean camera cut, Alec.
it's a masterpiece, but I have to.
You're
I'm
picking it
trying.
apart a little.
All right, all right,
I'm not awarding you any points right now.
all right, all right, all right, all right. Okay, fine, fair enough. Let's say some positive things about it. The music's fantastic. I love the immediate before anything's even on the screen. We get the immediate classic piano without anything. Amazing.
Yeah,
So funny how it says Donald Pleasance before anything.
that's where all the budget of this movie went to.
Yeah,
Like
that's so
I'm
clever.
pretty sure at least a third, if not closer to 2/3 of this budget, the half went
Well, it
to
just
Donald
goes
Pleasance. Pleasant.
Donald Pleasance in John Carpenter's Halloween.
Yeah,
I mean, we know that he basically pulled an Alec Guinness with this, where he's just like, "What is this garbage?" I'm pretty
exactly. Couldn't have done it better.
yeah, and then but the funniest thing about this, and you know this obviously, is he ended up loving this more than anybody.
Right. Well, he was I think Goldfinger was his Bond villain name. He's known for that in this movie. Definitely more for this movie, if you ask
Oh
me.
yeah, oh for sure.
And
But
man, did he reap the benefits. He's in Halloween 4, he's in Halloween 5, he's in
yeah,
Halloween 6. I think he passed away in the Return with the one
Nope.
with Paul Rudd,
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
it?
a curse.
The
That
Curse, yes.
he died right before they released that, and they had
Right.
to, kind of
Oof, that
do all this
one's
stuff to get him to, like, yell at the end because he's like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "I'm going to stop him," and then all of a sudden you hear like, "Ah!" and
that's
just
a rough ending. You know they just couldn't come up with a better ending for that. That was bad, but yeah.
you know whose fault that actually is?
Paul Rudd? I'm gonna blame Paul Rudd
Harvey
now?
Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, yeah, that's right, it's a Weinstein production.
Harvey Weinstein got in a huge fight with, I think it was Mustafa Akkad, and they were arguing about the ending, and so there's the director's cut and the producer's cut.
Yeah, I think I've seen the other version, it's not as good either.
They're both pretty
They're
bad,
both really
but
bad. You're fighting over nothing, guys, but, you know,
yeah.
let's not talk about that asshole.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, man, but the music's fantastic, the acting's believable, it's
The
like
acting's incredible.
it's funny though, the 2 older girls, they're like 30, and then Jamie Lee Curtis is 20.
PJ Souls, totally.
Yeah, those 2 girls at least Annie
Andy.
she was 29 when they filmed this, so I'm like, "Wow, they really, they couldn't find a younger actress to play a high school
I think
student?"
there have to be, like, some connection to Deborah Hill, who's also the other writer and
Yeah,
producer of this movie,
mhm,
and she worked with John Carpenter on this to make this film, and I think she wrote a lot of the female, like, schoolgirl dialogue. She was a
sure.
big part in, like, how they talked, and I thought that the dialogue was pretty good for the time, honestly.
Yeah. Another thing I kinda noticed is most of the first half of the movie is just a lot of walking around the neighborhood.
It's a
It's
lot. It's a lot.
so much, and, a lot of, like, long takes of just, like, Lori
And
walking.
here's the best part, all the leaves are bright green.
Yeah,
They don't th it was not fall. It was filmed in California, right?
yeah, it's filmed in Pasadena, yeah.
Yeah, this is not fall. This is they had to bring in and ship in a bunch of leaves and put them
Mhm,
all over the ground to make it look like Illinois.
I know. They would go after he yelled "cut," they'd all run and grab the leaves and put them back in bags so that they wouldn't blow away.
Yep. Yeah, it's true. That's a true fact. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's pretty fun. Yeah, because it was filmed, yeah, right here in California, and then but it's trying to look like it's, yeah, Midwest, October.
It looked yeah, Lori's walking around with a pumpkin. It's like that pumpkin's, like, about to rot away. Like
I'm so bummed, dude. I live 15 minutes from Michael Myers' house, and I keep saying I'm gonna go over there and take a picture, and I keep forgetting, and I was like,
"Hey,
"Damn, I gotta do it."
Alec, get your ass away from there."
If I hear that, I will lose my mind. I just wanna see if it looks, like, all shitty still or if, like, maintained or maybe it's, like, a piece of, like, historical Pasadena history or whatever.
I wonder if it's, like, really nice and then painted white and stuff. It's got, like,
I
a
don't
picket fence and, like, a kid's, like, playing in the yard. It's like, "Oh, that's nice."
I know,
I
yeah,
wouldn't
I
live
know.
there.
Yeah, I mean, it looks nasty in the movie, and,
I'd rather live there than the Full House house, honestly. No, dude, because the people that own the Full House house have a tourist trap where people just go to it and just take pictures, and I think they gated it. Like they put like a fencing up where they don't want people to sit on the stoop and stuff. So I'd rather live at the Myers house than the Full House house.
the popularity of Full House is way more than probably the Halloween house, but
Eh, I go check out the Full House house. I would. Wake up, San Francisco.
yeah. Well, funny thing too, there's only same thing with Freddy, there was only 5 murders in this movie.
Yeah, not a
Not
lot. Well, yeah, only 5, right?
his sister, then that random tow truck guy or whatever that he kills and steals his jumpsuit,
That's Dosed,
then Annie, then the boyfriend's
Bob,
right?
and that's PJ Souls is 5.
And that's it. That's the last one.
Yeah, that's right. It's 5. That's not a lot.
No, it's kind of interesting though, it's just like Friday the 13th has the most kills. It's kinda makes sense, I guess.
Gotta do more. Bump those numbers up.
Yeah, no, Jason's the undisputed champion. If you go
Yeah. Oh, if you go through the total count,
yeah,
man,
oh,
Jason, jeez.
yeah,
Or
but,
Carrie. We talked about Carrie. Carrie killed like 200 people in the book.
that's true. I guess if we wanna go by the biggest kill count ever, we'd go
Like
by,
in a short amount of time, Carrie White by far.
what about the Final Destination monster that plays
Oh, come on. That's not on the wheel, Alec.
alright, alright. But Michael Myers, I prefer him to Jason. I think he's got a much more interesting background. He still gets fucked up a lot. Not in this movie so much, but he gets messed up in the later ones, like beyond supernatural surviving.
Yeah.
Shot, thrown down a well, grenades thrown at him. The one with Paul Rudd, he gets his head smashed in with a pipe until it turns into like green goo. It's just
Yeah, I mean, those are the other sequels. This one's interesting more because it's the personification of evil, and he's just walking evil, aka the boogeyman.
Mm.
And I think the new one does a good job of continuing. He's just like if evil could walk and see things, and that's it. And I like that take. Like if you were to take evil and put legs on it, that's it.
But
There's no like no revenge. There's no
there is though, Eric,
no.
because if
There's
it
none.
was no, because if it was just about killing, he'd just start killing the first people he sees. He chooses to go back to Haddonfield to continue killing there.
Well, I guess it's like the birth of evil. That's where he was. That's where he's from. So he starts there. I don't know. That's a question
Yeah.
I'd like to ask John Carpenter. Like, why not New York? Why not right when he gets out of the Smith's Grove? He doesn't just start going on a rampage and killing other people within the hospital. You know, who's to say he hasn't already? You know.
Yeah, yeah, and Loomis, I mean, he just continues to track him down, but yeah, it's such a weird thought to think that a kid gets taken to an institution at 6 years old, does not speak or do anything, and then just immediately gets in a car and knows how to drive and goes to another place, but, like,
But he did before, so it's like, did he just get hit with something that made him evil? Did like he get possessed? Like what? Because he was a normal kid, from what it sounded like. He was a normal kid, and then all of a sudden, evil.
yeah. And then so then what happened? Did the Myers have was she pregnant, I guess, then? Because Lori would be 18, I guess, in this movie, so she must have been born in 1960. So she must have been 3 years old when this all happened.
She must have been a baby, you'd imagine, right?
She must have been 3.
Yeah, that's not this movie. This movie
Right, right, right,
is
right, right.
doesn't do that. That's the second one. And in the new one, the direct
Yeah,
sequel, they're not saying that
I know.
they're brother and sister.
Right. No, yeah, no, I'm happy they acknowledge that too, but
They'll keep it vague, which I like better. I like vagueness. I like coming up with my own theories than knowing, oh, you know, he's evil because the stars align and it's Sam Hain, and it's like, okay, all right, this is
yeah. I agree. No, I agree with you. I think he definitely has a second most interesting story to Freddy. I think Freddy's got the most interesting backstory, but this one is also it's just like he's like a shark on land, basically, just
yep,
is there to kill.
yep, walking
And,
evil.
and he's good at it. You know, he doesn't fuck around. My favorite kill is probably Bob when he stabs him with that knife up against the wall and he kind of like admires it with his head and stuff like that. You're just like, ooh,
Well, that's the first time you see. I mean, well, you know he's strong because he was able to take the tombstone of Judith Myers.
mm,
You'd imagine he doesn't have equipment, so it's like this dude's strong.
oh yeah,
But when he kills Bob and is able to pin him with the knife,
yeah.
that's
That can't happen ever. That couldn't
I
happen.
don't see the strongest man in the world doing that. But
It's
that's I don't even
not
think the
about
knife would even hold, you know.
right. It's not
So
about the individual. What would happen is the body would just slip through the knife, and it would
or
just
the wall would break. It just so the physics aren't there, but it's still the thought that he's able to do that is insane strength.
yeah, and then that look where he just kinda,
Like
like, tilts
tilts
his
his head.
head.
Oh, so
Yeah.
good.
That's
I wonder
so
if that Nick Castle, the guy who plays the shape, came up with the head tilt, because
yeah.
that to me is the best part of Michael. Him
Yeah, no, it is.
admiring his work or about to just thinking about his kill for like a brief second.
When I was a
So cool.
kid, the ending when Laurie's kinda running through the house and all of, like, the bodies are, like, flying out, and then, like, PJ Souls has got her cross eyes, like, looking up and stuff like that. Even when I was a kid, I was kinda like, "What is this, like, the fucking it's like the showcase
The
of
fun
Michael
house.
Myers."
Michael
Yeah.
Myers, he's evil. He does fun house evil.
He does that, and he dresses up like a ghost and
He
stuff like
has the
that.
tombstone of Judith Myers against the headboard.
I know, so there is a brain, there is a thought
There's
process going on
evil.
here.
Evil. He's there to be evil.
I know, but he kills the dog too, man, and he
That's
doesn't
6
only
kill oh, that's 6 kills, Alec, boom. The dog
dude,
counts.
when he shows the dog and its leg just, like, goes limp, that looks so real.
Yeah, I don't know how I wonder if that was a prop, because
I
that looked very
dude,
real,
that looks like they killed that dog, and then all of a sudden its
right?
leg just, like, lost its strength and dropped down, like,
Also,
that looked
that was a German Shepherd, so to
yeah,
pick it up like that and stab it, like, that's strength again, like,
yeah,
damn.
and that's not a good acting dog where they're like, "Okay, so we want him to play, like, all of his muscles just, like, stop working because he's dead." It's like, "Oh, we can get that. We can get
I wonder yeah, I wonder how they shot that. Do you think they
yeah,
killed the dog?
I
Nah,
definitely
nah.
don't
They
think
definitely used, like, a puppet thing and
yeah,
just,
there's
like,
no way a
pull
movie
the
this
string.
successful could get away with killing a German Shepherd on screen for 40 years and no one talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Friday the 13th kills that snake in a brutal way, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, that's, like, kind of messed up to do that." That
It
was a
is
real snake, right?
100%, yeah, it is, and that's fucked up, but again, like, people are gonna be probably more upset if you murder a German Shepherd on camera than a snake, but
Yeah, they definitely did not do that. So
yeah, no, they couldn't have got away with that.
we'll have to
Uh,
Google it later. We'll have to Google it. But if you were to have Michael say one word, what would you have him say? Or like say something? Because I think that's gonna happen in Halloween Kills.
dude, I can't think of anything I'd want him to say. I can think of things that, like, might be kind of interesting, like, "I hate you," or something like that, or, like, "Die," maybe, but, like, I don't know what I'd want him to say. I mean, do you have any thoughts on what you wanna hear him say?
I like him to just say boogeyman or boo.
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 It just trying to imagine him saying that just seems comical, though.
Right. I don't know what he would say, but I think something along the lines of you can't kill the boogeyman. Something like that.
Mm, okay, that would be cool, maybe that line, yeah. I'm not a fan of "Boo," but "You can't kill the boogeyman,"
That's a great scene too. She thinks she just killed him with the sewing needle, which sounds stupid saying that right now. Like
No,
she took out Michael Myers with the sewing needle.
but you know what? In 1978, there's not a lot of movies like this for her to reference, like,
Nothing.
nowadays, anybody's whatever, if you're in a horror movie and you don't stab the guy a bunch of times, it's like, have you ever seen a horror movie? But in 1978, there's not a lot of slasher movies for her to reference, to know what
Yeah,
to do. What is that, a sewing needle in the neck? That's
right
not
in the jugular. Yeah, no, it nails him. It goes in deep too. And he drops. So she's like, "Oh, I got him." And that's the first time she like takes him down. After she does that, she goes upstairs to get the kids and like tell them, "Oh, I killed them." And then the kid goes, "You can't kill the boogeyman." And then he's right behind her. That's probably one of the best parts of the movie as well.
and he was right. You really can't
You
kill the
really can't kill
boogeyman
the boogeyman.
because no matter what, every movie, it's written in the clause, you can't kill Michael
Can't
Myers.
kill boogeyman.
What did you think of the Rob Zombie remake?
Hated it. Hated it. Hated it straight up. I mean, there were good parts, but I don't like the trailer trash
Yeah.
spin. I don't. I mean, Rob Zombie, he's made some good movies, but I wouldn't pick him to do Halloween and take Michael and just say he came from a bad family and was turned evil. Doesn't do.
Yeah.
And that little kid is not going to turn into that big giant guy, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you. I didn't like how they gave too much away, and it kinda justified it's like, "Oh, so there's plenty of people that have bad upbringings like this that don't end up being like Michael Myers." I don't know.
I don't know. And they dropped like all kinds of C bombs and stuff. Like, yeah, I don't need that shit in a Michael Myers movie or horror movie.
Yeah, it felt like they just kinda, like, white trashed it up, like, they
It
just
really felt like, yeah, nipples on the costume and white trash, and I was in for it.
yeah, definitely not as memorable. I wanna know, though, like, if a child kills an adult, do they go into an institute for the rest of their lives?
I don't know the laws. I would imagine that if a kid was to kill somebody, they'd go to juvenile prison or asylum of some kind.
Because he's there for 15 years, so it's like even when he turns 18, they don't even let him out, and I wonder if it's because, like, well, he's never spoken, so we think he's really messed up.
Yeah. Well, they were taking him to the trial, right, or to get executed or something. I forgot what it was. Right? They were gonna take him to get trialed. Yeah, that's why they went to pick him up at the asylum, and he escaped that night.
Oh, is that why they were
Yeah, he turned a certain age, and they were gonna take him. It's time to take him to the trial.
wow. Huh.
And he was ready to just say all these words and like put him away for life, give him life in prison, or I execute
Oh,
him. Yeah, I
you're
don't know. I
right.
don't know what it was gonna be, but
No, you're right, because 'cause they're like it's like, "What would I give him?" It's like, "I'd give him, like, thorax or whatever," and it's just like, "That'll knock him unconscious." Like, "Good."
yeah,
Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, a lot of little subtle things, like the matchbook too in the car, like, that's a really subtle thing that if you aren't, like, just kinda like, "Why'd they show that?" and remembering that and then seeing it later.
yeah.
Interesting stuff, though. Yeah, there's so much to talk about here, man, and we're already kinda towards
Oh,
the end here.
geez, Louis, we're already at the end.
I
The
know,
hell!
I
I was
know,
just getting started. I didn't even talk about stuff.
I know, but just for time, we're gonna have to do a recap episode, so, what do you say? Uh,
Totally. Let's spin the wheel.
yeah.
Let's spin the wheel. Man, I'm actually mad. I thought we'd get this at the like on Halloween. I thought this would be our last one. So
Yeah, the wheel does
the
what
wheel, the wheel. Yeah, dude, you can't make it up. All right, spinning the wheel of spookiness horror, and we got Hocus Pocus.
Hey, fun.
Everybody focus.
Cool. Oh, we had a nice guest for that one, too. Really good guest for
Hope
that.
wanted to do that one, right, with us?
Yes. Miss
Oh,
Hope. She's a freaking obsessed with this movie, so I will give her a call, and we'll get her on tomorrow. Cool. All right,
Hope
guys.
does Hocus Pocus.
Hope,
Hopus, hope pocus.
hope, pocus, pocus. Thank you guys so much for listening in today. There's so much to talk about with this movie, and I know it's Eric's favorite, so we gotta do another recap because I feel like we missed so much stuff. Thank you guys, and we will see you tomorrow with Hocus Pocus.